Hey YouTube, welcome back to Soldier Farms. I'm Jim. Here's another glimpse into the daily life of a working wood shop. This isn't the only thing I do, so forgive me if I'm not as slick as some of those other guys. So, alright, I'm going to tilt you down a little bit. What I've done is I've gone through and I had a bunch of these little pine dowels, and they're not really good for anything, so I'm going to drill them and make pins out of them. And in another video, I showed that process. It's in my past live streams. And what you do is you take one of these. This is the cheapest decent ink pen on the market. About 19 cents for this Bic stick. And you're going to take this and you're going to hold on to the cap. But you're going to drill this out, and then you're going to turn this and, make it a little fancy. And this here is a 19-cent Bic. The cartridge comes out of this. You're going to slide it in that pin that you're going to turn, and you're going to have a forever ink pen, because every time it runs out, you just pick up a box of these for about $2, and you got 10 refills. And go buy 10 of these, or buy a pack of these to get 10 pens, or go buy you 10 Parker refills and see which one's easier on your budget. So that's what we're doing. It's almost February. It's time for me to start making products for my upcoming farmers market. It'll be May before you know it, and I need to have enough stock to fill my table and keep it that way, so that I just have to make things to replace what I sell, which is infinitely more time efficient than having to batch everything at once. I think of it as an opportunity to learn how to do some, make a pen like a finial, put little acorns on the pen, something of that nature. Make it a little decorative. Now, this third end here, let me see if I can draw you a picture. These are 6 inches, well, a little more than 6 inches. The dowels were not exactly. So it's a little more than 6 inches, so you figure probably 1.5 inches you're going to taper down. Oops. Hard to draw a straight line on a curved surface. So you're going to taper that down, starting about there. And I think a slimline kit would probably go about an inch right here. And then it would come up and would come bow out a little bit, and then this would be where your bushing would be, and then it would come out over here for the cap. Somewhat like this, if you can see. So I'm just going to make these round on the end. There's not a good way to do a cap for this kind of a pen, or like not a cap, but a pocket clip. And so I've got all of the scrap that's left from kind of shaping these up, and I've got infinite other scrap wood like most everybody does. Hello.
Well, the chips fly light in the morning shade, hand-cut boards and a pocket knife blade. From a holler where the pines stand tall, they sand each edge, sign every hall. Soldier Farms wood shop, built by hand, little bit of sawdust in every plan. If you like things made the slow, true way, find Soldier Farms wood shop when you shop today on Etsy and Gormage and Friends. That's Soldier Farms wood shop. Come on back again. Hang the lantern, fill the flag, and let the old drum thud in time. Once we muttered oaths in taverns, now the echoes cross the line. Powder, smoke, and ink-stained letters turn to toasts in every town. Raise your pewter sons and daughters, for the year we wrote it down. Raise a racket for 250, bang the table, spill the ale. Still that stubborn, still that crafty, still that wild unbuttoned tail. Lift your voices rough and ready, let the rafters shake and ring. For the bold, unruly notion, we the people still will sing. Old men tell of barefoot soldiers marching through the frozen mud, women hiding rebel pamphlets under aprons, under blood. Now their names are worn on markers tilting in the village green, yet their mischief lives within us in the space between the seams. Raise a racket for 250, bang the table, spill the ale. Still that stubborn, still that crafty, still that wild unbuttoned tale. Lift your voices rough and ready, let the rafters shake and ring. For the bold, unruly notion, we the people still will sing. Here's to every quiet quarrel, lightning struck in common speech. Every porch and crowded parlor where the truth was out of reach. Here's to vows and smoky corners, spoken low, remembered bright. May we earn them, may we keep them when we argue through the night. Raise a racket for 250, bang the table, spill the ale. Still that stubborn, still that crafty, still that wild unbuttoned tale. Lift your voices rough and ready, let the rafters shake and ring. For the bold, unruly notion, we the people still will sing. Hand-carved hearts, strung as stone, from a small barn shop we call home. Soldier Farms, you feel the grain, every board tells a name. Soldier Farms wood shop, bring the warmth inside. Hang our work where your stories live and hide. Find us on Etsy and Gormage too. Soldier Farms wood shop, made by hands for you. Hey! Gather round the low there, lad. This one's for the Sawdust Mafia. Hey! There was Davy Boy from Canada, turning stumps at Mark Jesus speed. Tamed a naughty burl like a rabbit bull, made a hollow form that make a bishop bleed. Shavings flying like a winter storm, shirt stuck fast to his sweaty back. When he held that fast to the tavern light, every jaw in the room went slack. They call them the Sawdust Mafia, artisans and a little bit more. Men of shavings, grit and gospel hearts of maple, oak and ore, turning stumps into glory, running wild in a hail of chips. Crank the sketchometer to 90, white knuckles on the gouge and grips. Sawdust Mafia, raise your glass and your fingertips. Ryan rode a rocket in his little shed, spun a fancy bowl like a launch pad flare. Foot on the pedal, eyes dead calm, wood screaming hot in the midnight air. Curve so clean you could cut your tongue, edge so thin you could see through time. He just grinned. If it doesn't scare you once, you'll never cross that line. They call them the Sawdust Mafia, artisans and a little bit more. Men of shavings, grit and gospel hearts of maple, oak and ore, turning stumps into glory, running wild in a hail of chips. Crank the sketchometer to 90, white knuckles on the gouge and grips. Sawdust Mafia, raise your glass and your fingertips. Big Mike at the whacking shack said, watch this lads or don't. Hey, sketchy blank like a crooked smile, he should have stopped but he won't. Hey, one last cut and the world went bang. Rim took flight like a falling star. He laughs for a cloud you could almost taste, but a bowl in his beard and the raptors in the jar. Whoa. They call them the Sawdust Mafia, artisans and a little bit more. Men of courage, cracked and grinning with their boots on the shaven floor, turning stumps into legends, singing loud over scrapes and squeals. Hey! Crank the sketchometer to 90, if it doesn't shake it isn't real. Hey! Sawdust Mafia, raise your glass and spin that wheel.
The gulls and the milk on the step, hair in a knot, one shoe half wet, kettles all cackling, porridge like glue, 7-week goblins all screaming for stew. She scrubs out the socks till her knuckles turn red, pegs out the shirts that fall back on her head. One's on the table, one's eating the spoon, another's been sticking peas up the broom. Oh, raise your glass for the mammy half mad, queen of the chaos, the best that we've had. She's burning the dinner and losing her mind, saint of the saucepan, patron of the overtime. Here's to the harried, the hurried, the tried, who burned the brown and serves and simply lay down and cried. She baked them some rolls from the frozen brick pack. Forgot him, poor soul, till they all turned black. Pulled out the tray with a curse and a cough, sawed at the bottoms and hacked them clean off. A wee curly cherub with butter on chin said, "Mammy, they're hard, can't we eat the soft bits?" Her lip gave a wobble, her shoulders went wide. She bawled like a banshee and simply lay down and cried. Oh, here's to the Harry, the hurried, the tried, who burned the brown and serves and simply lay down and cried. Here's to the scorch marks on oven and heart. Here's to the woman holding it apart. If ever you tasted a roll turned to stone, you'll know she was trying to feed you a Here's to the Harry, the hurried, the tried, who burned the brown and serves and simply lay down and cried. Here's to the Harry, the hurried, the tried, who burned the brown and serves and simply lay down and cried.
The chisel bites the oak so deep, splinters fly but I can't sleep. I carve the wood to calm my mind, but war's a ghost I cannot bind. I shape and sand, I cut and play, but every stroke just feels the same. These carpenters' hands won't forget the fight. They build by day, but they burn at night. The hammer swings, but the echoes stay. A soldier's heart is a price to pay. The fiddle hums a mournful tune. Our whittle shapes beneath the moon. A cherub box, a soldier's grace, but sawdust can't erase his face. I smooth the edges, make them clean, but shadows haunt where light has been. These carpenters' hands won't forget the fight. They build by day, but they burn at night. The hammer swings, but the echoes stay. A soldier's heart is a price to pay.
Alright, so I need to drill a 1/2-inch hole. And for that I need a 1/2-inch bit. Half-inch.
of shields, helm full of sawdust, king of the field. Hammer and hatchet, blood on his boot, smells like espresso, steel in his roots. Oh, oh, Daniel the Bearded, breaker of bone, of oak, of stone. Oh, oh, Daniel the Bearded, berserker, builder, king of the boogie throne. Builder, king of the boogie throne. Hey, hey. Grey ring demon in the firelight, hey. Mask on its face, teeth shining white, hey. Daniel Ross thunder, shield held high. Raccoon just hisses, he jumps through the sky. Sunrise, sharpening steel, planning new strongholds, timber and keel. Rustle of branches, soft little croon. He drops his axe at the side of that raccoon. Of stone. Oh, oh, Daniel the Bearded, terrified twice by the bandit of Rune. Oh, oh, Daniel the Bearded, berserker, builder, king of the boogie, runs from a raccoon.
So, can you make a 19-cent Bic pen worth more than 19 cents? Yes, you can. Does it take some time? Well, of course it does. But there we are. So, thank you all for joining me on this part of this adventure that is Soldier Farms. Here's our first pen for our market table or for one of our little retail opportunities. Is it fancy? No, but it's fancier than this guy. And cheap as those things are, you can continue to replace this for a very long time. So there we are. I'm going in and gloat to the wife, be proud of myself for a minute, and I'll get this video up here the next couple of days. Thank you all. God bless.